Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. I know this podcast is quite new, but some of you have been following along for a while now. As you may have noticed, the narrator has changed a couple of times already in just a few months. The truth is, the podcast has been growing extremely slow, and basically nobody has left us any reviews so far. I'm here as the new voice of the podcast and would love to stick around, but I need your support to do so. Please, if you enjoy our content, it would mean so much to us if you could just leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you use. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Hello, dear dreamer. I'm Owen Thorne, and I warmly welcome you to this gentle space of quiet wonder. Let your body settle, let your thoughts drift, and feel the soft weight of this moment. Tonight's story is about Cinderella's springtime ball, the soft music of midnight, a peaceful tale where blossoms dance on a moonlit breeze, and every note of a gentle waltz feels like a tender lullaby for the soul. As you lie there, eyes growing heavy, allow the hush of night to envelop you. Notice the steady rhythm of your breathing, the comforting rise and fall that cradles you like a lullaby. Inhale deeply, letting the breath fill you with calm. Exhale and let any lingering tension slip quietly away. There is no rush here. Everything moves at a slow, dreamy pace. You deserve this rest, this effortless drift toward peaceful slumber. Feel the faint warmth of an imagined spring evening upon your skin. Perhaps you can picture a soft glow in the sky as a gentle pink twilight bows to the first stars. The flowers in your mind's eye begin to bloom with pastel petals, their fragrance enveloping you, delicate yet profound. Breathe in that sweetness. With each breath, sink deeper into your pillows, releasing the day's cares. This story is here to guide you toward tranquility, a companion in the quiet hours. Now, let us begin our journey into a place of soft melodies, shimmering lanterns, and the comforting hush of a world at rest. In a faraway kingdom, under the tender hush of a waxing moon, Cinderella emerged onto her balcony, eyes reflecting the soft glow of evening stars. The spring air was gentle, carrying with it the scent of blooming magnolias and lilies. She leaned over the balustrade, gazing across the palace gardens that stretched before her in a quilt of emerald and lavender. Far below, hidden among winding hedgerows, lay a cobblestone path that led to the grand ballroom. Tonight, the palace would host its annual springtime ball, a celebration of new beginnings and warm breezes. It was a tradition that brought everyone together in gentle merriment, and the princess felt a tender anticipation flutter inside her. The world was calm, as if the night itself had paused to take a deep, soft breath. On the distant horizon, the sky glowed with the final shades of twilight, where pinks blended into lilac and a hint of gold from the setting sun still lingered. Cinderella's dress, chosen for this special night, shimmered in pastel hues that mimicked the soft colors of dusk. Tiny embroidered flowers adorned its flowing skirts, each petal a promise of the season's renewal. A hush fell over her chamber as she stood there, quietly marveling at how peaceful everything seemed. Even the palace staff moved about with gentle footsteps and hushed voices, preparing for the festivities in a manner as delicate as the whisper of petals falling to the ground. Before long, a comforting lantern light began to glow in the windows below. Soft lamplight spilled onto the garden paths, guiding guests in small clusters toward the ballroom's grand doors. There were no hurried steps, no anxious chatter, only the soft hum of violins, beginning their warm-up far behind ornate doors. Though it was spring, a faint nighttime breeze brushed against Cinderella's skin. She closed her eyes, cherishing the moment, savouring the way the wind carried a distant melody of strings and the gentle murmur of fountains. In that stillness, she felt a sense of harmony with the world, as though every living thing was taking a mutual exhale, grateful for the night's tender blessings. Easing away from the balcony, Cinderella allowed her feet to carry her slowly through the corridor, each step a gentle echo on the polished marble floors. Painted tapestries along the walls depicted scenes of flourishing gardens, blossoming flowers, and quiet forest glens, a perfect reflection of the season's enchantment. Tiny crystals in the chandeliers above caught the light, sending soft rainbow prisms dancing across the hall. With a delicate swirl of her dress, she made her way down the grand staircase, the cool banister gliding beneath her fingertips. The music drifted closer, each note a serene invitation. Every passing servant or courtier greeted her with a kind bow and a comforting smile, as if all hearts beat in unison tonight, aligned with the gentle tempo of the evening. At the foot of the stairs, she paused, taking one more deep breath. She remembered a time not so long ago when nights like these felt laced with worry. Whether the clock would strike too soon, whether a dream might vanish as swiftly as it had begun. But now, a deeper sense of calm enveloped her. Spring had a way of promising renewal, of offering softness after the brisk winter. Cinderella could feel it in the gentle hush of the corridor, as if the palace itself was breathing along with her. And so she stepped forward into the softly lit ballroom, heart open, ready to embrace the night's delicate magic. Inside, the grand hall was awash in a pastel glow, lanterns draped with filmy silks to create a dreamy haze of light. Along the walls, vines of wisteria hung, their clustered blossoms forming a curtain of pale purple. Soft music, violins, a gentle harp, and a quietly plucked lute carried across the polished floor in melodic waves, never too loud, never hurried. Couples swayed in easy circles, their movements leisurely and unforced, as if time itself had slowed to match the graceful waltz. Cinderella took it all in, the swirling gowns, the kindly smiles, the low laughter that rippled now and then, like distant chimes in a pleasant breeze. Near the edge of the dance floor, small round tables were arranged with sprigs of fresh flowers and slender candles burning with warm, flickering flames. Sparkling glass carafes of fruit-infused water and sweet juices offered refreshment, their scents intermingling with the perfume of the blossoms. Each table seemed like a quiet island, a place to rest and share gentle conversation before returning to the waltz. Cinderella noticed the clock on the far wall, its face circled by a floral design. It quietly marked the passage of the night, each ticking second a soft reminder rather than an urgent command. As the princess wandered closer, she could see her friends. Some were seated, sipping delicate drinks from crystal cups. Others swayed on the dance floor, weaving slow patterns across the polished marble. The entire scene felt like a living lullaby, a gathering of kindred spirits celebrating spring's calm arrival. Cinderella's dear friend, a gentle figure with kind eyes, beckoned her over. She offered a seat, and the two exchanged smiles. Their conversation was softly spoken, filled with warm memories of the last ball and eager hopes for the new season. Through the large arching windows, the moon rose higher in the sky, bathing the hall in its gentle silver glow. Each note of the ensemble's lullaby seemed to mingle with the moonlight, weaving an atmosphere that was both regal and intimate. When Cinderella stepped onto the dance floor, the night's enchantment wrapped around her like a tender shawl. The gentle music made each movement feel weightless, every step gliding softly. All around, couples dipped and turned with languid grace. The sweet hush of springtime enveloped everyone, as if nature herself were blessing the moment. Delicate garlands hung overhead, woven with little lights that twinkled like captured stars. Their soft glow reflected in Cinderella's eyes as she danced, the slow swirl of her dress trailing like a whisper behind her. With each turn, she felt a peaceful connection to the space and the people around her, as though they were all part of a single, gentle heartbeat. Occasionally, a servant would pass by with a silver tray of miniature confections, topped with rose petal icing or sugared violets that glimmered under the lantern light. Every taste was subtle and sweet, dissolving on the tongue like a dream. The murmur of polite conversation danced around the edges of the room, never intruding on the music, but accompanying it, as softly as a breeze through blossoming branches. Now and then, the gentle ring of laughter would flutter through the hall, like the clear note of a tiny bell. Cinderella found a quiet corner to rest for a moment, near a tall, arched window that overlooked the sprawling palace gardens. Through the glass, she glimpsed a midnight orchard painted by moonlight, petals stirring like confetti in a breeze so gentle it hardly stirred the leaves. Lanterns lit a winding path through flowering shrubs, inviting strollers to step outside and wander among the blossoms. Soft conversation was drifting in from the veranda, where guests ambled amid the sweet scents of spring, letting the hush of the night cradle them. From inside the ballroom, the music continued on its calming course, never urgent, simply a serene tide carrying dancers across the floor. An hour or more might have passed. Time had a different rhythm in such a dreamy setting. The towering clock, framed with carved roses, inched closer to midnight. Yet, unlike the memory of a fateful hour when everything might vanish, Tonight's midnight promised only a deeper lull of enchantment. Cinderella sensed no haste. Instead, she felt drawn to explore the gardens and share in the tranquil hush beneath the star-filled sky. Drifting toward the doors, she let the soft music fade behind her, replaced by the quiet rustle of blossoming branches. Outside, the garden pathways were lit by floating lanterns suspended on slender poles. Their glow illuminated clusters of tulips and daffodils in soft pastel shades. Gentle sprays of lavender perfumed the air, mixing with the faint sweetness of honeysuckle. Courtiers strolled arm in arm, speaking in hushed tones so as not to disturb the peace. Cinderella stepped onto the grass, feeling the cool, comforting touch of the earth beneath her feet. In the distance, she could hear a nightingale calling, a delicate voice weaving its own lullaby into the star-dappled sky. For a moment, she simply stood there, taking in the tranquil arrangement of nature and moonlight, every breath infused with the promise of renewal. Further along the path, a small fountain trickled with a soft, crystalline sound. Its basin was surrounded by pale blossoms that bobbed gently whenever the breeze passed by, sending ripples across the water's surface. Cinderella paused to watch how the moon's reflection shivered in the fountain's gentle current. She reached out to touch a single petal floating in the water, the smooth, cool texture gliding against her fingertips. Nearby, fireflies blinked in and out of sight, like tiny lanterns dancing their own mysterious waltz among the foliage. The hush felt sacred, as though the entire garden was enveloped in a protective cocoon of serenity. Drawn by a subtle, lilting melody, Cinderella meandered deeper into the garden, toward a secluded clearing. Here, musicians had set up a small alcove under a canopy of blossoming apple trees. Their petals, pure white tinged with soft pink, floated down like gentle spring snow. The musicians played quietly, a single violin accompanied by a harp, offering a private serenade to any who ventured there. A few couples danced in a slow, affectionate sway, while others simply sat on wooden benches, heads leaned together in calm companionship. No one rushed, no one worried about the next moment. Time seemed to flow as smoothly as the music. The gentle strum of the harp strings echoed across the clearing, merging with the faintly perfumed air. Cinderella settled onto a wooden bench at the clearing's edge, letting her eyes wander around this secret grove. She savoured the sweetness of the harp's melody, each note unravelling like a silken thread in the starlit night. Soft candlelit lanterns nestled in the tree branches above, sprinkling warm pools of light on the ground. She noticed how the petals drifted from above, catching the lantern glow in delicate spirals before resting softly at her feet. The effect was mesmerizing, and for a while she simply gazed at the gentle dance of moonlight and blossoms, feeling lulled by nature's tranquil performance. Though the gentle murmur of conversation drifted from the other side of the garden, Cinderella felt a sense of quiet solitude in that moment, as though she were cradled by the tender arms of spring itself. The music continued in soft ripples, the violin whispering a kind of lullaby that resonated in her heart. She thought of past nights, of transformations and fleeting magic, yet felt no urgency. Instead, she felt only gratitude for this serene celebration, a night woven from kindness and soft delight. She breathed in, slowly, feeling the subtle perfume of apple blossoms, and let that breath out in a long, calming sigh. The world, she realized, could be this gentle, a place where midnight brought only the promise of deeper rest and warm companionship. In time, she rose from the bench and drifted back along the lantern-lit path. Returning inside the palace, the warm glow of the ballroom greeted her like an old friend. The music there remained comforting, a graceful lull that invited every guest to move at their own unhurried pace. She noticed that some had slipped away for a moment's rest, while others danced as if in a dream, their eyes half closed in pure contentment. At a small table near the center of the room, a trio of musicians played a gentle waltz. The notes were as light as a soft spring rain, tipping each leaf and petal before settling quietly. As the clock's hands neared midnight, an air of tender anticipation filled the hall. There was no fear that magic would dissolve. Instead, a collective hush spread, like the room was drawing a gentle breath. Cinderella found herself among friends, each wearing a smile that spoke of contentment. The music swelled ever so slightly, still quiet, still peaceful. Lanterns twinkled overhead, and the sweet aroma of fresh flowers surrounded them, a tapestry of springtime fragrances. Then, as the clock began to strike the midnight hour, the ensemble introduced a new melody, softer yet, an almost lullaby-like tune that echoed the sweet hush of the night. No one rushed for the door. No one felt alarm. Each chime melded into the next, weaving through the music as if an essential note in the gentle composition. Cinderella closed her eyes for a moment, letting the soft chimes wash over her. 1, 2, 3. She could sense the swirl of pastel gowns around her, hear the subtle murmurs of contented conversation. 4, 5, 6. The warmth of candlelight glowed behind her lids, dancing in gentle patterns. 7, 8, 9. The hush in her heart deepened, a calm acceptance of the night's steady flow. 10, 11, 12. When the final chime faded, the music continued in serene harmony, as if midnight were simply another brushstroke on an already enchanting canvas. Gradually, as though carried on a tide of tranquility, guests began to make their way home, some retiring to cozy chambers within the palace, others stepping out into the moonlit gardens, and still others venturing beyond the gates under a canopy of stars. Cinderella lingered a moment longer, watching as friends and visitors exchanged goodbyes, each farewell wrapped in gentle smiles and hushed appreciation. The memory of the ball, its soft music, its pastel lights, its sweet lull, would accompany them like a tender echo in the days to come. Stepping into the quiet corridor once more, Cinderella made her way back toward her own suite of rooms. The palace was calm, corridors bathed in a gentle hush, with only the faint echo of the last waltz drifting through the air. She passed by the tall windows again, glimpsing the moon high above. It reminded her that sometimes the night offers a deeper kind of magic, one that rests in the heart and not merely in a fleeting enchantment. Her slippers made a soft sound against the floor, a delicate cadence that matched the rhythm of her heartbeat. Outside, the final traces of the guests' lanterns bobbed along the garden paths, like fireflies returning to their quiet corners. Entering her room, she found the space warmly lit by a single lamp. She closed the door behind her, shutting out the faint echoes of the festivities. A comfortable chair by the window beckoned, inviting her to sit and reflect. She exhaled softly, letting her body relax, feeling gratitude for the gentle beauty of the night. The hush of springtime, the tender music, the drifting blossoms, it all lingered in her mind like a lullaby. And though the celebration had gently come to its close, the calm resonance remained, a soft glow that would guide her into restful dreams. Now, dear one, wherever you are, feel the gentle peace of this story settle over you. Allow your eyes to grow even heavier, your breath to slow. It's time to drift away into your own soft slumber. Like a warm spring breeze, let the memory of shimmering lanterns and midnight petals guide you into a place of deep rest. The hush of the ballroom, the faint notes of a violin, the tranquil glow of candlelight. Imagine these gentle details wrapping around you like a cozy blanket, ushering you toward a serene, dream-filled sleep. Let your thoughts become lighter, floating away on the quiet melodies of the night. Picture the moonlit garden, the blossoms dancing on a gentle breeze, and the rippling fountain under twinkling stars. You can sense that same hush settling over you now, inviting your mind and body to surrender to the softness of the moment. Breathe in, drawing in calm and comfort. Breathe out, releasing any last threads of wakefulness. Allow yourself to rest, lulled by the memory of pastel lights and soothing music, drifting effortlessly into the sweet, renewing darkness of sleep. Close your eyes and feel the quiet. Let the hush of this magical evening carry you into a realm of gentle dreams. May the warmth of springtime and the lingering echoes of Cinderella's soft waltz cradle you through the night. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well.